Hello and welcome to a live post-match reaction to the Chiefs versus the Blues, and the Chiefs maintain their winning run over the Blues with a 21-19 victory. Yep, a relatively low scoring affair and a close one at the end. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, a YouTube channel, podcast, Twitter account and website bringing you the best in rugby predictions and opinion. And thank you very much for joining me. The Blues started off this one very well, actually. On the first minute, the Chiefs held on at the tackle straight from the kickoff, giving the Blues a penalty, and they kicked posts straight away. Hi, Andre. Thank you for joining us. As you can see in the live chat there. They kicked posts straight away. That's that sort of trend we've seen that's sort of kicked off last weekend, of teams kicking posts a lot more than not going for the corner. They managed to back that up with another penalty for not releasing the ball on 4 minutes, and they had a very good start to go 6-0 up down there in Hamilton. The Chiefs then went through a period of keeping it very tight, pick and goes, not using their width so much, and eventually that forced the Blues into giving a penalty. And so we had this exchange of penalties over the first sort of 7 minutes or so. But it was at that point the Blues were good for those, had the sort of upper hand in those first 4 minutes. But after that, the Chiefs took the upper hand, and that kind of happened. They kind of maintained that dominance throughout most of the rest of the game, finishing up with 60% of possession and 70% of territory. So they had all the territory, they had all the possession, but they were making a whole bunch of mistakes, which is why we didn't see that many scores. Hi, everyone who's joining on the live chat. Great to see you. Let me know your thoughts about the game and how it went. It's a solo show this evening. Where are we now? Then the Chiefs did got the opening try, a line-out maul that was stopped. Neither side particularly managed to line out to get their mauls going this evening, and so off that, DMAC then they went out to the backs. Damien McKenzie passes a long ball, loops around, gets the ball back again, quick release on the outside, and it was a try out wide. He missed the conversion, but that put the Chiefs up into the lead. And then this is where Perifetta sort of kind of lost the plot a little bit. First restart didn't go 10, which gave the Chiefs obviously possession and territory, or possession on the halfway line. And that led to then the Chiefs were dominating possession and territory, got down to the 22, and eventually there was a breakdown penalty was given to the Chiefs, and they kicked another 3 points. The next restart went long from Perifetta, kicked it out on the full, which was a real problem. The Perifetta really was losing. It was lost the plot for that sort of 5-10 minutes in that section. There was a whole bunch of quick ball, lots of offloads. The Chiefs were getting over the gain line, but they kept on getting turned over. The Blues were scrambling very well, and they struggled really. And whilst they had the upper hand, they just weren't getting the points that they deserved from that. Perifetta did a real good break, and from that the Blues got another penalty, which he kicks again, which sort of brought things up to 11-9. And again, it was the restarts that were causing the Blues problems. They've just kicked one short. They've just kicked one out on the full, and then Damien McKenzie kicks one short, and they win their own restart, go down, camp inside the Blues 22, and it's another penalty. And as soon as the Blues get a point, the Chiefs just pulled away again. And on that half-hour mark, it was 14-9, and it looked like the Chiefs basically were going to control this game and move on. Aldelon on the live stats, Chiefs' dominance wasn't reflected in the points, and that's true. It wasn't. They kept on making mistakes, which didn't allow them to get it. And Jason, every time we kicked the ball, we gave the back three good ball, and they were always breaking that first line of defence. There was a big change though on that half-hour mark because of injuries. So Mawala got himself injured and went off, and so Gatland had to come on. The Blues had a 6-2-2 bench. They didn't have cover in the backs properly. Martin McKenzie, then about a minute later, Martin McKenzie replaced Damien McKenzie. The suggestion from the bench was that it was tactical, but he was definitely limping. So I think maybe he entered with some sort of injury. And then Kano also came off at that level at that time as well. And this is where basically the Blues then got the upper hand during that last 10 minutes of the first half. We saw a good break by Rieko Ioane and Ikiri Ioane, which and they managed to, which meant that the Blues got some period of time in the 22, and we saw Parsons eventually bash over for the try. The Blues again were on the attack, were going well, but they sort of ran out of time, picked up a penalty in the Chiefs 22, so they kicked the points to lead 14-19 at half time. So that was a real problem. So that was where that was at. Joel asked, why did Tanner insist on Rieko in the midfield and pushing Moala out to the wing? Rieko Ioane has made it very clear he wants to move inside into the centres rather than be on the wing, which is an interesting choice by him. And that's where he sees himself. That's where he played his Mitre 10 Cup and his age group rugby. He hasn't been a winger through the age groups, and that's where he sees himself as a centre rather than a winger. Yet we do hope that the Damien McKenzie's injury isn't good, because it'll be because hopefully he will be back next week. So the Blues finished that first half strongly, added those 10 points, which put them into the lead, and then we came into the second half. There was only one score in the second half, amazingly enough, which was the penalty try when the Blues had a player in the bin for a yellow card. And the second half was a lot, basically, of the Chiefs pressurising the Blues, having all the ball. They had 38%. They had 62% of possession, and the Blues just not being able to exit from their 22 in particular, and hence the Chiefs end up with 77% of the territory. Absolute domination, and yet no points. A lot of that came down to turnovers. The Chiefs just kept on messing up the ball. They turned the ball over 14 times. The Blues were 8, but a couple of those were towards the end of the game. The tackle count or tackle percentages for both sides, the Chiefs were at 84%, the Blues at 87%. So the defenders were working well. But if we look at the clean breaks, 11 clean breaks from the Chiefs, only 3 from the Blues, which gives you an idea as to the amount of attack that the Chiefs were bringing to this game, the amount of yards they were making, which is why we see the ring ran with 567 metres with ball compared to only 200 by the Blues. This game was all about the Chiefs, and all about the Chiefs just messing up and not being able to control their ball. They should have won this one comfortably, but they didn't, because, I say, they just couldn't. The Blues' defence, which has been very porous over the last few weeks, definitely was improved. I mean, 87% tackling is very good. And their scramble defence was also good. So the Blues definitely have improved in that area. And that's one of the things we said during the Hash Rugby chat, or I said during the Hash Rugby chat midweek, was that the Blues need to make themselves hard to beat, because this losing run is not bad. It is really bad for them. Losing this only by 2 points is got to be a morale boost. It's going to be disappointing, obviously, that they lost. That it's got to be a morale boost for them. 12 penalties to 9, which gives you, and I say they picked up the yellow card for too many infringements in their own half. And considering, or in the sort of the red zone loss at the ball on their try line, which, considering the amount of pressure and amount of tackling that they had to do, is actually not a bad score. We should probably talk about some of the players. Martin McKenzie came on, and that definitely changed the Chiefs. He is not the dynamite X-factor player that his younger brother is, but his kicking was decent, and his distribution was okay. But it definitely not the threat running with ball that his brother is. He only made 2 runs for 4 meters, for example. So that definitely hindered the Chiefs from the hour mark onwards. The players who you'd expect to get some good meters in there on the Chiefs side generally did, and their back 3 all had a decent amount of runs and decent amount of meters, I say, which you kind of expect. Brody Retallick also had another good game with 15 carries for his 37 meters. and Ardron, the Canadian lock, who's playing alongside Retallick because of injuries, also had a very good game. 8 carries for 45 meters, and that restart claim that led to the led to a try, led to a penalty. I can't remember now, but either way, it was a very good restart there. Beat a bunch of players as well. The players on the Chiefs side, Rico Iwani, and as has been said in the live chat, why is he playing in the centres? Because he was playing in the centres, but he didn't really. So he didn't get much ball. He didn't get much space. Only 5 carries in this game. Really didn't. Not his best game. Really not a game where he managed to get his influence in it. His brother Akira Iwani, also a relatively quiet game apart from one break down the left. Again, not given time or space. Much time or space. Only got 6 carries in this game for 38 meters, and that put him as second highest. Perifetta was the person who carried it the most for the Blues with 44, which is not very much at all, when you consider it. Defensively, Akira Iwani got through a whole bunch of work defensively and had. I mean, overall he had a good game, but we just didn't see him in the sort of dynamic attacking way we'd normally see him. 13 tackles, non-miss for Akira Iwani was a good shift at the offense. It's shown that he can actually play a part in these more arm wrestle style games. Amusingly enough, Ruru, the scrum half, was the second highest tackler with 12 tackles, but a lot of the players got through a whole chunk of work. Only one I'll call out for missed ones really is Tuangafasi, who missed 5 tackles. He was also the player, I think, who took out a player in the air, and I think he was very lucky not to get a yellow card. The Chiefs player came in to catch the ball, took off. Tuangafasi put his head down, wasn't really looking, arm out, and caught the player as he jumped. Now, I get that he may have not realised the guy was jumping, but the guy didn't even have the ball in the first place. So why was he thinking about trying to tackle him when he didn't have the ball? He was running forwards towards where the ball was dropping, which was behind Tuangafasi. Even if it wasn't a tackle in the air, it would have been a tackle off the ball. So personally, I think he should have gone. I think he should have got a yellow card for that one, and should have had spent some time off the pitch. As I say, I think he got lucky. On the Chiefs side of things, as always, Sam Cane got through a chunk of work, 13 tackles, non-missed, and also Teavo Matu got through 10 tackles as well. The prop, who was got through a decent chunk of work. Otherwise, the rest all shared it kind of around. That's how I saw the game. No one gave up a particularly bad number of penalties in this one. So just have a quick look in the live chat, see if there's any other quick comments. Okay, lots to talk about. Yes, Damien McKenzie. Yeah, it's going to be so important for him to come back because Martin McKenzie just is not that spark. A bit like Mawala, is such a big loss for the Crusaders as well. Other sort of notable mentions, actually, Suakalu, the number 8 for the Chiefs, had a great break, and it was good to see him running free. Unfortunately, that move broke down, but he was a good player, a good person to call out as well. So there you go. The Blues still haven't beaten a New Zealand side in forever. The Chiefs keep their streak going against the Blues, and whilst they won't have picked up any bonus points, so that's that they've picked up the win, which is what's important. Thoughts on Kano? I think he is a guy that he's showing his age now, and yeah, I don't think Blues Warwick fans. It'll be disappointing to see him go overseas because he has been such a big player, big name for the franchise. But let's be honest, I think his time is done, and it's I think he's getting a bit old, and it is off the pace at this level now, I'm afraid. So I'll be back after the Brumbies versus the Chiefs. Brumbies versus the Reds in a couple of hours' time. So do join me again for that post-match reaction, and enjoy whatever you're watching.